4 weeks out. First week of the peak. Bench session today. Primary bench. I bench twice a week. This is the first and heaviest session of the week. Just like the previous videos, we're going to roll the training footage. I'm going to voice over on top or commentate, I guess, as I go. But here's the thing, man. There's something about these videos that feels a little low quality. So I'm just trying to pinpoint what the fuck that is. And once I can figure out a little bit of a better process, we're going to upgrade things. Okay, but for now, basically what I've been doing is filming with this DJI Osmo, and then I edit it, and then I throw it, or I export it, transfer it to myself through WeTransfer, and then I use Loom to talk over it. But Loom is kind of ass. It's not the best thing in the world, you know? So I'm trying to figure out what to do moving forward to help this quality increase while letting the function stay efficient, okay? Because that's how I've been able to put out videos so fast. I mean, I record at the gym, I come home, and then I spend 20 minutes talking about it, and then I can upload. Super easy. So I don't know, we'll figure it out. But either way, appreciate you guys tuning in again. Let's roll the footage. Hold your horses there, bucko. We're gonna crush this down, okay? Nice. Hopefully this isn't too loud now, training-wise. We'll bring it down to 8. Why not? All right, cool. Guys, dude, holy fuck. The productivity is insane. We are on video number 2, and it's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. If I can hit 3 videos a week on YouTube, that'd be crazy. I'm not going to lie. Even if it's just this style, that would be crazy on a consistency side. I mean, you're talking about, like, what an exponential increase in productivity and output from a YouTube standpoint. Phenomenal. Then the next level would be improving overall quality, improving format, all of that stuff. I don't know if I'm going to continue to do like educational stuff on the powerlifting side. I feel like it's so overdone, but I understand that providing value is really important, and education is one of the easiest ways to do so. All right. But right now we're sticking to the document the journey style. All right. And I'm hopefully going to be able to leak in more like lifestyle vlogs and just kind of like reveal to you guys my life, what I do. Yeah, mindset stuff for sure. Big on mindset. If you know me, I'm big on that. Okay, enough about all that. We've got a bench session today. This is still week 1 of our peak. So we are about 4 weeks out from the competition. And today I had a top set range of 200 to 210 kg with a backdrop, or not a percent, but it was like it was minus 15 kg off my weight used for my top set for a triple on the back downs. And then we had a session. So that's what you guys are going to see today. This right here is my last warm up. This is 190 kilos or 420 pounds. Usually when I warm up my bench press, I go up in reds and then just jump to the top set. So let's say if I had 210 kg as my top set, I would go red, 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 blue. That's how I warm up. The reason why I took the 190 here, number one, I felt like it would be good to just get that extra exposure, that extra work in. Number two, when I compete, I have a very different strategy to attempts than most lifters, especially on bench. I don't like to waste energy on bench. I'm very confident and comfortable making massive jumps on all 3 lifts. So when it comes to bench especially, to me, that's a massive advantage I have going into a second or a third. So why the fuck am I going to take basically the same number 3 times? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to gas myself like that. Why would I take 210 to then take 220 or 215 to then take 225, whatever it is? No. I would much rather go 190 and then go 210 or 220, you know, and make that jump. Also, too, like, I don't need to take something closer to 225, or even if I was going to try and break 500, you know, whatever that is, 227 and a half or 230 or whatever. Like, I don't need to get too close to that. Like, I can do this and know what's there on the day. So for the most part. So yeah, so we've got 190 here. This was the final warm up. Let's see how it goes. Nice and fast. Cool. I don't know if you guys like the fact that I stop and go a lot when I do these styles of videos. If I were watching this, it would really piss me off. I'd be like, yeah, just fucking roll all the footage so I can see it, you know? But it's kind of hard to commentate while also letting the footage roll without stopping it because I'm a yapper. This is the top set, 207.5 kg. The reason why I went with 207.5 is because this is a week 1, because there was an RPE to this, it was RP8. And because 210 was the top end range. So I felt like, you know what, let me get close. Let me flirt with something over 440 and make it move well. hit it to absolute standard, and then that will set the tone for the remainder of the peak. Okay. Um, Let me play it, and then we can talk about it. I'm going to move myself right over here. I've been training in the mornings. Well, I always train in the morning, but thinking about coming in the afternoons from now on till the meet. Nice. Look at that. Could that have been a triple today? Possibly. Would have been a hard triple. Um, Possibly. Definitely a double for sure. Um, but what I really want to point out here is the casualness of the standard, which is really important. So I really took my time, breathe in, press into the bar, right? Really rinse that back, reach to the ceiling with the sternum. And then even here, like my goal was of the way, and I give this cue to my athletes as well. I like to think of my torso as an egg. Whenever I'm doing soft touch, I like to think of my torso as an egg. My job as a bencher is to tap the egg without cracking the shell. That's the amount of tension and control I need to have during the movement, especially with soft touch. The sink is similar, but the sink is more of like a compression of energy that you're building. You're still having a ton of tension. A lot of people fuck up the sink. A lot of people think the sink is just drop. No, you're gonna fuck yourself up that way. What the sink actually is you allowing yourself to build momentum. It's almost like I feel like I'm storing energy. So I'm creating more and more tension as it sinks in, but I'm not letting anything collapse. And then boom, firing up. But that could be pretty difficult to manage and to do over time. Also, too, you are adding range, and yeah, there is a chance that a higher probability that you're going to lose tension with a sink than there would be if you were to soft touch. And I've been soft touching for a minute now, so I'm just going to stick with this going into competition. But yeah, whenever I'm doing that, I think of it the same way like how Spoto. I forgot who I heard it from. Maybe I came up with it myself. I don't remember. I don't want to give myself that kind of credit. But with Spoto press, where you stop an inch from the chest, that was always the cue. I always told my athletes and myself, "There's an egg on my chest. I'm going to tap the egg without cracking it. That's it." What's unique about that too is that requires such a fine level of control that you have to stop the bar's motion. It's not like a pause. You're literally stopping that bar's motion. And that's what they're looking for in competition. They're not looking for a pause. The ref is not counting in their head. They're actually just trying to see if the bar has stopped moving. Then they give you the press command. So it's the same idea. Let's say I'm not doing a Spoto, I'm just doing a regular compress, but it's soft touch like this. I'm going to picture myself as an eggshell because now the amount of control I need to not crack that eggshell, boom, by the time I've actually stopped the bar's motion, I'm going to get that press command. I can go again. So I'm really happy with this standard. One thing that I really wanted to make sure I accentuated, because it always shocks me, for whatever reason, I always find I'm just sitting there for too long, is this portion right here, right after the unrack. Ready? I get set. Watch my butt go down. Boom. This amount of time to get the start command. It always shocks me. I'm always like, fuck, where the hell is the start command? So I felt like this was a very honest press, honestly. Even just re-racking it, everything fully extended, I thought that this was a very honest press. So this was 207.5, man. I think it moved pretty well. Not much else really to say about it. I mean, really, the goal for this meet is like 500. I would love to hit a bench PR here. To take like for anything over 491 would be a PR in a meet, and I think it'll be there. You know, bench has really shown up recently. To be honest with you, and for me to hit this on a week one and hit what's about to come next on a week one of a peak, bruh, it's good. It's a good sign. It's a really good sign. So I'm excited. So the program called for minus 15 kg for a back down triple. However, instead of taking 197.5, I rounded up to 200, so 441 for a triple. I did this in part because I kind of felt like a bitch for not taking 210 and instead opting for the 207.5 and making the conservative. Proper choice, but I still felt like a bitch. So I was like, you know what? I need to get my man card back. I'm gonna push these back downs. And I basically chose the back down number that was going to be the heaviest I could have gone for the day if I had followed like the top end script. Because 210 minus the 15. Wait, actually, no. Was it minus 10 or was it minus 15? Bro, I don't even remember. Yo. That's crazy. Did I totally overshoot? Thomas, I'm sorry. Holy. No, no, no. Minus 10. I'm in the clear. I'm safe. Minus 10 kg. Okay, I've been lying to you guys. It was minus 10 for the back down triple. Man, we almost got fucked up. So, no. So, minus 10. 210 minus 10 is 200. This would have been the heaviest I could take for a triple. I felt like I need to get my man card back, so that's why I went with this. The biggest thing in my head going into this is I haven't hit more than a double with 440, I think, in a little while. I don't remember what I hit for a triple last spot. Maybe it was 440. I don't remember. But my biggest thing with this is less about like the pause. It's less about like the standard. I still want to maintain an absolutely like really good standard. What I care more about is just getting the pressing in and doing it with tons of tension and good form. Um, so that's what I look for. Yeah. So this is a good angle too for you guys to see because you see how much tension I'm building up here. But see, I'm not really pausing it. I added a little bit of speed to the descent. Not bad. I probably had another rep in there, possibly a fifth rep. Possibly. I doubt it. The one thing I don't like about this, which I don't feel it when I'm pressing, is look at that bar path. It's not great. I shouldn't say it's not great. I should say it could be better. That's what I would say. It could be better. I mean, when you bench press 440 pounds for three, I don't know if you can say that the bench is at 210 body weight. I don't know if you could say it's not great. I'm not trying to gas myself, but got to give credit where credit is due, man. So we're really tense, but you see how like that bar goes from here to down here. That's natural. A lot of benchers are going to have that pattern, but it's a little too low because then my body wants to have it come back up. And seeing as the reps go on, it gets worse and worse. Thomas would probably say I'm losing my lats here. He would probably say I'm not keeping this tight. So it's more so just like keeping all this in here and trying to come straight down and up. That's essentially what I need to fix. If I were to self-diagnose this, but not bad, bro. Nice triple at 200 on week one. Dog, in the past, man, I'd be lucky if I could hit a single at 200 during a peak. That's a lie. Well, no, it's not really a lie. I mean, like, yeah, there were some times. Okay, so next I had pec deck flies. I do these pretty heavy now. I really try and push these. I'm using 225 pounds here. The max on this machine is like 250 or something like that. I just slowly progress them. I got 2 sets of 8 to 10 here. And I stand up with this machine, especially on this day, because my goal is to target really like all of my pec fibers, but I really want to get that lower pec and just get all that stretch in there, as opposed to getting a ton of like delt and all the shit in here. Like a lot of people end up with bicep tendon issues and all that shit because they just do flies too high. You want to open up the chest and really really feel like you're pushing and pulling at the same time. So yeah, so I like to go heavy. Also, standing up lets me see my torso and I get to lean back into the machine, which is great. Whereas if you're sitting, you kind of have to be here. Just I don't know, just ass. So yeah, this is the second set now of 8 to 10. I think I hit a solid 8 here. Maybe I did some like half reps to get to 10, but not bad. So you'll notice that the first 5 or so, I really try and control and come to a complete dead stop. So again, distinct, boom, 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 boom. Then after about halfway to my total reps, that's when I'll work in some more explosive concentrics to really just get that blood in there and just fucking push. Sometimes I can't though. Sometimes it's just I'm gassed or I'm tired. It's just hard. But yeah, we push, push, push. I've been really enjoying this mouth guard I've been using because I'm a big teeth grinder. I'm just a grinder, dog. Okay, so this, I hate to say it, is not in my program, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. So this is a very simple pec press. I don't do any like unilateral work with my upper body for pressing. And so I throw this in here on this day because it's not going to fuck me up for bench whatsoever. I really don't go too heavy. And I like doing this on this day. I don't always do this particular exercise, but I like to do this because it helps me just target that inner chest without putting too much strain on here. Sometimes like if you do a normal chest press, especially in a machine, you get a lot of strain through the bicep tendon, just your shoulders and stuff, and it kind of just fucks everything up. Pec minor and all that stuff. So instead I come in here and it's just a nice squeeze, a nice press, get a lot of that inner pec. And again, it's one arm, so it's great because it's just I don't know, I don't know, it just adds something extra, that I don't get from everything else. Only 2 plates here. I could easily go to 3, but because I'm focusing so much on the tension I keep on the pec, and it's such a short range of motion, you're keeping a lot of tension in the pec when you do it like this. So, I think I did like maybe 12 to 15 reps each arm here. But yeah, and then on the second bench day, I also add in some incline press work, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Or no, I add in like incline flies. I forget what Thomas has in there. And then I always end up adding in the leg stuff, though. I don't add in extra leg work. We do not add in extra leg work. No, thank you. uh, yeah. No, but you could see, like, again, just take a nice harsh angle towards the machine, keep it nice and tight, keep the tension inside the pec. I am not a fan of stretching things out too much, loading that end range too much. Like, I don't want to do any of that. Okay, that is just dumb to me because at a certain point, you're not even working the tissue anymore. It's just your fucking ligaments and tendons and stuff. Um, okay, now we move on to some back work. The way that things work right now, yeah, yeah, no free press over here. Okay. Um, the way the things work right now, I have a girlfriend. Get the fuck out of my screen. Um, in all seriousness, the way things work right now is I have two upper days essentially and two lower days essentially. And on the upper days, we split push and pull. Okay, that's basically it. Would I like to have more back work in? Yes, because I love to train back. I like to build a lot of that. And, I don't know how many total working sets I'm doing for the week on my back, but it's probably not nearly close to like what a bodybuilder might do per se. But my back has developed, I think, quite a bit, and I'm pretty happy with it. So you'd be surprised like how much work you can really get in. Sometimes I'll add in some extra stuff, but rarely, especially not this close to a meet. But anyway, now we start our back work. This is obviously wide grip lat pull down, but what I'm focusing on here is keeping all of this, my scaps down and everything like engaged, like as if I was squatting or deadlifting. This is something that Thomas really stressed because before I would train more like a bodybuilder where I would really let the scaps protract and let the lats stretch across the rib cage and all that stuff. The problem is, you're teaching your body something kind of shitty in terms of like maintaining position under load and through resistance profiles when you are in a movement. And I think it's been helping. I also do think it has been helping me develop my lats a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, the other thing too is like really trying to get that bar as down as I can, so I can basically train that all that tension I might have in the back squat, when my lats are, really wrenching everything down. But yeah, so that's why that's there. Really try and accentuate that. So it's kind of tricky though too, because you're basically like trying to fully lengthen the arms without letting the shoulder come forward, without letting all this come forward. It's actually kind of tricky. But yeah, so I did like 2 to 3 sets here. Very cool. Okay, so now this row, I have a chest supported row on this day. I have chest supported rows basically throughout the whole week, but this machine I switched to. Before I was doing a different chest supported row and I just wanted to progress a different movement. I felt like I was plateauing on the other machine. So this is like a true seal row. I like it. So what I usually do is the first set I go kind of heavy. So this is like whatever this is, maybe 185. I don't know how much this bar weighs. And I go kind of heavy. And then the second set, I go 135 because I know that I can get really quality, like really good reps every single set, and I'm already a little bit like pre-fatigued from the heavier set. So, but again, see how I'm really focusing on keeping that thoracic extension, keeping everything super tight up top. I'm not letting everything just kind of roll forward all the time. Now I'm still fucking it up every now and then, but I'm not letting everything just get loose and bossed around, so to speak. Like everything's staying super tight throughout. So I do think that helps, and I definitely feel like I get way more sore throughout the session as a result. Yeah, boom. Okay, cool, done. Yeah, you thought I was too short for this thing, huh? No, man, I'm 6'2" in Tim's. All right. So, a couple sets of tricep work here. My bad, looking nice and aki. Nothing really to say here, to be honest with you. It's just tricep work. Because this is the beginning of the block, I do get rep ranges for this stuff, but because it's the beginning of the block, I allow myself to get a little bit closer to like 12 to 15 reps. Still kind of heavy. Like I still try and keep the loads that I was using for like potentially 10 to 12 or 8 to 10, but just try and push it for more reps as the program progresses across the macro cycle, like across like several blocks. But I do appreciate quality volume when it comes to my triceps and stuff. So unless like somebody were to tell me, hey, you're doing this movement specifically to produce as much force as you can, for 5 reps, whatever, That's different. But if you're telling me that I'm doing this for hypertrophy, then I'm gonna do what I think might feel good in the moment or what makes sense. And it doesn't always make sense for me to just hit 8 reps on a tricep extension for 2 sets. What I usually end up doing is hitting a warm up set, then I'll hit a set of like a hard 10 to 15, and then I'll either use the same weight or go a little bit heavier for that last set. And that puts me at 8 to 10, or maybe even sometimes like a hard 6, and then I have to really squeeze for 8. And then these are just like these face away curls that I really like. I pretty much do all my curls like this. Um, Great for bicep tendonitis as well. I used to do this a lot for bicep tendonitis. It was just ironic that Thomas ended up putting these in my program. But incline dumbbell curls, incline hammer curl shit, like all that stuff is great, But yeah, I find I get a lot of growth out of this. Yeah, so yeah, man. Whoa, hey, whoa, relax, relax. Yeah, come on, holy smokes. Yeah, look at that lighting. I am Batman. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Damn, hair's getting a little longer. You guys see that? Yikes. I don't know. Yeah, so this is the last movement of the day. My second bench day, I'm not gonna lie to you, I add like 2 or 3 accessories to it, upper body accessories to it. Just because I do like to train accessories, I like to get big, I like to get jacked, I like to feel jacked, And as a natural athlete, it's really important that I accumulate lots of quality volume. Okay, I didn't realize how fat I look here, but yeah, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of the muscle. This is what 212 pounds at 5'5" on a good day looks like. I'm far from lean right now, honestly. I was super lean. I shouldn't say super, but I was pretty lean for a while. And then I just allowed myself to slowly eat more, eat more. It was also kind of part of the plan here with Thomas, where let's hide the tummy. Yo, that see now that doesn't look as bad. No, I'm kidding. I was kind of listening to Thomas talk about, he kind of wants me to slowly improve my metabolism just to be able to handle more food. And, because you'd be surprised what like my maintenance calories is, even at 8,500 steps a day. Like, unless I'm doing hard cardio, like my weighted vest cardio, just getting on a treadmill, even walking on an incline, like a zone 2, there's just not enough resistance. So even just getting 8,500 steps a day, I still really can't eat more than 2,500 to 2,600 calories without getting fat a day. Whereas, I know 74s who are shredded and are my height, but are 74 kilos and they eat 3,000 calories a day or more. So yeah, man, I'm an easy gainer, but when it comes to cutting, maintaining my weight, it's tough. So yeah, so I'm a little chubby right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little chubby. Before I was a little bit leaner. That's one of the things I hate about the sport. Is it's very difficult to like be super shredded, super lean, um, while also being super strong at my height. If I was taller, it'd be a million times easier because if I even had just the same muscle mass, all of this fat is getting spread across that much more frame. Um, and yeah, it would be so much easier. But guys, like you guys have to understand, I'm literally like basically the height of like 74s and 83s, except I'm fucking 210 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But overall, I mean, not terrible, bro. Not terrible. Listen, man, when you're a natural powerlifter, it is what it is. Also, this lighting isn't really doing me justice. I really should have, like, look at that. Oh my God. Yeah. Don't worry. I was leaner before. We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. Um, but yeah, man. So I'm excited because I think that bench is going well. I'm very excited to see how this peak goes. This is the peak right now is set up differently than any peak I've ever done before. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited to see how things kind of shape up. I do think that bench will show up, man. I really do. I think that bench is going to be in a place that it hasn't been before come competition. And, squats, we'll see. Deadlift, we'll see. But bench, I'm like, I can see 500 plus happening, which is great because that builds the subtotal. And a lifter like me needs that. I don't have crazy leverages for, in my opinion, any of the lifts. I think I'm decent at all of them. I think I'm well rounded in all of them, but not like a specialist in any one of them. Excuse me. And so a lot of lifters will only need they'll need like an average subtotal because they can have a massive deadlift that'll put them over the top. Whereas for me, I need to have a massive subtotal because although my deadlift is decent, it's certainly not competing. It's not over 800. And the best pullers in my class are all over 800 or close to it. So, because I can't rely on that card, I have to have a massive subtotal. And bench is a secret weapon, man. Bench is a secret weapon. Take Keiko, for example. Keiko has been pretty dominant in the 93s. And his squat was never even close to something that was hyper competitive. I think where Keiko would struggle now with this new age of lifter is just the fact that, for him, squat has always been something that he struggled with, and or at least it seems like. And so his bench is so insane that he could literally dominate people for the most part. I shouldn't say dominate because there have been some close calls, but he can win in one of the most competitive classes basically because of his bench. Like, let's be real. It's because of his bench. He's a strong deadlift, absolutely. But how are you squatting 683 or 660 or, whatever and still winning a world championship in the 93s? That's crazy. And again, that was because his bench is just so insane. But, the problem is now the average squat in the 93s has gone up to over 700. Whereas before, people were looking to hit 683, 700, maybe. Now everybody's squatting over 700 consistently. So, it's a matter of like, okay, either his bench goes to 600 or, he ends up really pushing that squat. What am I saying? Point is, for me, the bench is such a secret weapon. It's so much of a weapon. And if you can really lock that in and get that much further ahead than everybody else, and your squat is, even if it's not the best, even if it's just hyper competitive, meaning top 3, top 5, you could be really dangerous going into deadlifts. And the thing about those really big pullers, man, is like their leverages are great and shit, but like, you know, I've seen a lot of times where they miss when they should have made. And personally, I think that's just due to the fact that they are well leveraged for the deadlift. They have a lot of advantages, and so as a result, they haven't had to work out a lot of the what ifs. That's not always the case, but yeah, I mean that's what I see. I still think to this day, like one of the best deadlifters that I always like love to watch was Chance Mitchell. I really feel like he set the tone for deadlifting in the 93s. He was doing numbers at the time that nobody was even like looking at, like nobody was even going to be able to touch, um, which is sick, man. I hope maybe one day he comes back. But yeah, so my goal is definitely over 500 on bench, really by nationals. Like if I'm just speaking plainly, by nationals, I want 525 or what would be like 523 in kilos to be relatively casual. Like I think that should be 100% on the menu, in my opinion. 523, I think should be there. Squat wise, it's a little bit trickier, but 800 at nationals would be incredible. 771 should be like, that should be a minimum, in my opinion, for a third attempt. 782 would be like, I think, a clean third where it's like, okay, this is a solid number that we can use to our advantage. 800 would really help seal a deal there. And then, deadlift, who the fuck knows about deadlift, man? I mean, deadlift, especially if I get better and better and better at sumo, deadlift could be a weapon. It could be. But I don't want to have to pull 800. You know what I mean? I want to be able to just pull like 750, 765, 771. But no. In all seriousness, I definitely want like 804 to 821 on deadlift. Um, so, yeah. But that's it. Yeah, that's the session, guys. Ran through that relatively quickly, I think, right? The only thing I think that's worth mentioning before I hang this up is I actually had a client onboarding call, a new client meeting. Basically, I do a consultation. It's either myself or one of my other coaches, and we will talk with the prospective client, and then go down the process if we both think that it might work. And so on that call, really cool kid. He's from India. He's 22, and he lives in India. And at the end of the call, he asked me a question. Basically, how long did it take me to get to some of the like places I've been to in the sport, but then also really like my mindset and stuff. And so we just kind of got into like a cool conversation about that, you know, how it's hard to find like-minded individuals. It's hard to find people with a mentality for more. One of the things that he said that I thought was really interesting, because what I find so awesome about people from other countries, this has always been the case, is because of the language barrier and the cultural differences. People tend to be more direct and more blunt about what they mean. They also tend to be more authentic and real. They say what it is. They don't dance around it. And he specifically said, like, you know, I achieve something and then I want more, and it's like not enough. I feel empty. That was the word he used. He said he feels empty. I don't know too many people that would use that language first time they're meeting somebody. And so, one thing that I said that I hope kind of reassured him is that I confirmed like that is 100% going to be the case. In fact, like one of the emptiest points of my life was when I won Junior Worlds, which depending on where you're at in powerlifting, you may not care, but like Junior Worlds was a big deal for me because 2 years prior I'd set out to become a world champion, and 2 years later I did it. And so I had done what I had set out to do. I felt super, super empty. And what I told them is what I would tell you guys, which is you kind of, the fulfillment will come from the process, not necessarily the outcome. Because if you climb a mountain and you get to the peak and you expect your view from the peak to give you purpose, to give you meaning, to give you fulfillment, you're going to be unpleasantly surprised. Because as soon as you get to that peak, you're going to see another mountain with a higher peak. And that's going to make you feel like shit because you're going to think, man, that's where I need to be. I should be there. This is nothing compared to that, right? Now, it is a blessing and a curse because that same drive, that same spark that pushes you for more, where it's never enough, you're never satisfied, that is what pushes you. That is what makes you pursue greatness at all levels and never stop. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's exactly what I told him. I was like, dude, if the cost of being great and doing something great is when you get there wanting to do something greater, fucking sign me up, dude. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I guess it sucks that I want to do more. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Because to me, it's like, you got to live your life anyway. At some point, you're going to die. So I can either live my life fucking being average, doing nothing, not attempting anything, or I can commit to something, go all in on something, and give myself fully to the pursuit of a passion, the pursuit of greatness. And maybe I'd never make it. Maybe I fail along the way a gazillion times. Maybe I do make it. Maybe I achieve everything. To me, there's so much more value in that journey than the first one. And the other side to it too is, where does that fulfillment come? It comes from the process. It comes from the people that you do it with. It also comes from like the legacy. And this was kind of like what I finished on when I was talking about it with him, which is you never know who's watching. As an older brother who grew up, I have three younger siblings. Something I learned very fast was you don't know when they're watching and when they're listening. So how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, how you present yourself, they're learning from that, whether you like it or not. So you have a responsibility to those people to be your best, period. It doesn't mean you're going to get it right all the time. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. But you have a responsibility to do that, whether you like it or not. You don't want to take ownership of that responsibility, that's fucking on you, fine. But I do think that we innately, especially as men, we want to take on that responsibility. It gives us purpose. I mean, that's literally, it really does. So what am I saying? You never know who's watching. So you may feel like, man, I climbed to the peak of this mountain, and what was it for? You know, I fucking, nothing changed. I feel empty. But some young kid or some old person, like somebody somewhere is looking at that climb, at that process. They saw how many times you scraped your knee, how many times you had to run from the bear, and how many times you fell down all the way to the bottom and had to climb back up. They watched that and have been inspired to climb their own mountain. And then that has a domino effect. There is value there, and that should fulfill you. And not to mention, once you've climbed all the mountains you're going to climb, and you're in your old age and you're just fucking walking around the fucking cane, the wise old sage in the village, you get to pass on all of that knowledge, all of those experiences. That's where a lot of that fulfillment comes, but it's about the process, not about the outcome. The outcome, though, what I will say is it's important, and I think a lot of people neglect this. They try and pretend like, well, the outcome doesn't matter and it's a participation trophy. That's not fucking true at all. I'm not doing this to lose, okay? I'm doing this to win. The goal is to win. The goal is to get to the top of that fucking peak. And yes, I will want to climb even higher on the next mountain. But for right now, that's where I'm fucking headed. So make no mistake, that is why I'm doing this, okay? So that the outcome does matter, but it should not define you. The height of the peak doesn't define you. It simply defines the work you've done, the journey you've been on. Okay, it's just somewhat symbolic of that. It's not symbolic of you necessarily. It's not. It doesn't mean that you didn't make it to the peak or that you did. Right? It's not a reflection of who you are. It's more a reflection of what you did. I guess that's the better way to put it. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting conversation. Anyway, okay, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Man, dude, we're fucking ripping these YouTube videos. Yeah, appreciate you guys. All right, cool. Also, new training app. Still working through some of the kinks and stuff, but I'm really excited about it. I feel like I've been saying that for a really long time, too long, but I am really excited about it. Really excited about expanding the coaching business to way beyond just powerlifting. And I've got some great coaches under us now. Really building out a great roster and a great team. So really excited. But and I will keep you guys updated on the acting side of things as well as things progress there. But cool. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.